Welcome to Peak Personalities. This is a series we'll be doing bi-weekly with me and Nathan. The concept will be going by one series at a time, talking about some of our favorite moments, and for now, we're covering Bleach.
Alright, well, can you guess who I picked for Peak Personalities this week?
Do I get a hint?
Ah, man, I feel like any hint I give will... Alright, we might have mentioned him already.
This is Shunsui.
Negative.
Oh, fuck. That was a great Bankai reveal, though.
That was.
Well, we also talked about Mayuri.
There you go.
Fuck me.
Why are you gonna pick him?
No, I hate Mayuri with my whole heart.
You do? Oh, man, this would be a fun one to talk about then.
No!
Okay, well, just a brief introduction. Captain of the Squad 12 and the head of the Research and Development Institute, Mayuri Kurosutchi. So if any of you guys are Bleach fans, we all know that this guy is the absolute, like, what's the word to describe him? He's very eccentric, intellectual, and very controversial in the series for his actions he does, the experiments he does, how he treats women, and how he treats his own squad members as well. Anywho, we're going to get right into this. So, what plot implications do we have with Mayuri? I think his biggest plot implications he has is probably greatest at the Thousand Year Blood War arc. I actually found it kind of funny because when Yuha was naming his five the war potentials, I was actually really shocked Mayuri wasn't in that discussion, because if it wasn't for Mayuri, I'm pretty sure the Soul Reapers would have lost. Actually, I don't even think they had a prayer to win without him. He saved Hitsugaya, Rangiku, I believed, Kenpachi. He pretty much showed in every fight that he had against the Quincy's, he had relatively no struggle, and that even includes against Pernida.
He got dicked by Pernida. His lieutenant bailed him out of that fight.
He definitely was like, all right, fine, eat my lieutenant, but guess what? You're gonna be poisoned and you instantly die. So, like, I'm gonna say it was a big brain move by him. I mean, but still, like, I don't know any other Soul Reaper right now that could have taken down Pernida. As I was like doing research on this, I can't. Kenpachi.
I mean, Mayuri didn't take out Pernida though.
I mean, yeah, he did. If you wanna.
No, Nemu killed Pernida.
Nemu's body killed him. Except he was like, "Give me the brain back," and he took the brain. And that is Mayuri's creation. That's what he does in his fights. Like every fight he does, he's either injecting or killing someone with something. Yeah, I still can't. I don't know any other one that could have. I mean, maybe full Bankai, a true Bankai Hitsugaya.
I mean, I think the most obvious answer is Kiraku and Nanao.
Could they though? Because like
they ought to be able to. I mean, Kiraku is incredibly powerful, and Nanao has the anti-god sword.
I thought that sword literally can only kill Lilybara though.
No, it's an anti-god sword.
So it's any god?
It's theorized that that sword's original sin was cutting up the Soul King. So if it works on Lilybara, it should work on Gerard, it should work on Pernida.
I thought the whole point was that Lilybara's light attacks, like, you can't even touch him, but his own god attack killed him. At least that's like my assumption. I don't know. I'm not gonna throw Nanao in there. That sword's cheap. But
it's fucking crazy and not completely defined. I hope it gets defined.
I really hope it does too. But I mean, like, even if you cut one of his limbs off, like, oh, okay, what? He's just gonna grow more. Like, he can just keep multiplying himself. Mayuri's Bankai ate it and just. What else did Mayuri do in the 1,000-year blow arc that's slipping up on here?
A handful of great things, like
he did the amplification to open up the barrier.
Amplification that got them to
Varvelt.
He did identify the shadow issue and give them a laboratory with no shadows. Yep. And then he did forcibly zombify a handful of characters such as Rose, Kensei, Toshiro, Rangiku, and then bring them back. And also Izuru? ? I don't really understand what happened with Izuru.
I forgot what happened to Izuru. Didn't he just like have half his body gone last time we saw him?
Yeah, he got shot through by Basby. Giselle turned him to zombie, and then I don't know if... I'm pretty sure he's alive in the current timeline, and I can't think of any other reason other than Mayuri for that.
Oh, man. Well, so I think it's pretty fair to say that I think Yuha, I don't know why he wasn't a war potential, to be honest with you. Like, what do you think? Do you think he should have been a war potential?
Well, I think one of the thematic things about the war potential is there's no runner-ups. It's just who he thinks is the biggest concern for a specific category.
Mm.
Because if you had to worry about spiritual pressure, Ukitake theoretically should have been on that list.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. Aizen was.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, Aizen was.
And if you compare Mayuri to Urahara did way more against Aizen than Mayuri did.
Yeah, that is true. Man, how did Yuha even know that much about? Like, he has all this data on everyone, and like maybe that's why he put Urahara in there, because he just didn't know.
Urahara made the Hogyoku. Mayuri's biggest invention at that time was creating a Soul Reaper.
You know, an artificial Soul Reaper, that's a pretty big feat, though.
It is, but the Hogyoku is world bending.
Yeah, no, that's pretty dimension breaking, actually. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, I guess you can't have two intellects in there. I mean, like, maybe you could have had one for creation or something. I don't know. So, in terms of plot implications, I think Mayuri definitely has an impact, especially it played a big role. I definitely would put him in MVP category for the 1,000-Year Blood War.
For sure.
Let's go on, move on to our next section, which is our strong character moment. I needed time to look at this one because I had to read the manga a little bit, and I had to look at his interactions with Nemu. Throughout Bleach, when you see how he treats Nemu, like, early on, he, like, treats her like trash, right? Literally smacks her. In the 1,000-Year Blood War, you see there's some hesitancy with Mayuri, especially against the fight against Pernida. He's like, don't bother coming in here. Don't save me. Don't do this and that. And even though Nemu does save him, you can see Mayuri's, like, doesn't want it to happen because he knows, like, he's like, I wouldn't say he's became a softie. He's grown an attachment to Nemu. And this fight, I think, was like a very strong character moment for him, because when Nemu dies, you could see like Mayuri's like bitter about it. And then, yeah, he saves Nemu's brain, which means, I mean, I think Nemu could probably come back.
Well, she does.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
Was this in Can't Figure Your Own World?
No. The Hell chapter.
Oh my gosh, dude! I didn't read.
He remakes Nemu. He remakes Nemu.
I only watch reviews on the Hell chapter. I didn't actually read it myself yet, so you know.
You can just read it. It's one chapter.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do that then. But anywho, I think this is definitely a magna opus fight. Bleach is big about matchups. Kenpachi is stronger than Mayuri, but he's gonna get absolutely dog walked by Pernida. And I'm still holding on to this. I think getting it now out of the question, I think Mayuri was probably one of the few people that actually can go toe to toe with Pernida and win that fight, and with the help of Nemu. Yeah, I think this was the strongest character moment for him was in this fight. And I don't know if you have any other fights you can think of, because I did look up the fight with Zalaparo.
I just never bought Mayuri secretly having deep affection for Nemu. I mean,
oh, hot take.
Akon says, "Oh, you're his most prized possession." Skibbly bibbly bop. It's like, okay, well, last time I checked, I don't give my most prized possessions tosses across the room and kicking their guts in and stabbing them and doing things without their consent if they have actual opinions. But he does that.
But he changes towards the end.
Bro, he physically and mentally assaults Nemu. I just can't. I really can't.
I think that's what Kubo was trying to show, that Mayuri is a very heartless and cold person, and he still is, but his feelings towards Nemu definitely changed, because he's seen Nemu can now act on her own. He really created a perfect soul. I think that, I mean, I'm not going to say he's good. He's not a good guy.
I just think a character who is hardened and softened in a more natural and better way is Yamamoto.
Oh, he had a pretty big ego towards the end there.
He had a big ego, but he changed in a lot of big ways. It went from, oh, the law is a law, and just following what he thought was Central 46 orders, to actually changing some laws to better the world in his newfound perspectives. But going back to Mayuri, I would say a strong character moment is the slow-mo poison against Xyloporo.
Really?
I think that highlights who he is. You know, a scumbag who wants someone to suffer for years just to die.
He is a dog. That was okay. We're jumping a little bit. That was a peak moment for me, because Zalaparo was like over here, like, yeah, man, I'm perfection. I literally beat death. I literally cannot die. And like, I was like, look at the fight, because I had to rewatch it, and I'm like, dude, how does Mayuri win this fight? Because I completely like forgot, and I was like rereading it. I was watching it in the anime, and like the fight was just really weird. Like when I was watching it,
it's not a good fight.
It's not a good fight. It's so dark though.
It is dark.
like he's like, because Zalaparo's like, yeah, I can keep coming back to life. You can't kill me. What are you gonna do, dude? Yeah, what can he do? And then he puts that injection in him, and then like every second's like 100 years. And he's like, Myers, like, yeah, you're probably thinking I'm talking really slow right now, and I am, because like every second's like 100 years for you. And then you see him pick up the sword, and he's just slowly, he's still talking. And I think I counted as like 26 it was like 20 something seconds of him just slowly stabbing it slower and slower in him as he's like literally just torturing this man. And that's such a Mayuri moment. But he is cold. Like, that is such a cold thing to do. And I don't think any other captain displays this kind of thing. Even like Yamamoto in his peak, I don't even think would slow kill someone like that. But that's just how sadistic he really is.
I think Yamamoto in his prime would slow kill someone.
But for 200 years?
Well, not literally 200 years, that's wasteful, but like as slow that is reasonable. And you look at his fight where he thought he was fighting you watch, he's like, all right, hold on, let me resurrect your homies, so you have to crush their skeletons before I actually kill you.
That was more of a flex for real.
It was both.
It was both. It was both. That was definitely a flex though. But yeah, I think that's definitely one of his peak moments. I don't know if you have another peak moment for him.
There is no peak moment for me for Mayuri because I hate him.
You hate. Oh man.
Every time he's on screen, I just want him to not be on screen.
His biggest surprise. I'm gonna go back with the Nemu thing because I really do view Mayuri looking at Nemu like his daughter. You know, he was very cold and sadistic back in the day, and he experimented on his own, and he like mercilessly like killed like his own subordinates. Towards the end there in the Thousand Year Blood War arc, I seen Mayuri like really be like in his element. Like, okay, we're in trouble, we're dying here, and I need to be really active. Like, he openly went on to fight the Quincy's, stepped in and handled anything they could with Urahara, and he's resentful towards that. He really was cooperating with a lot of people that I don't think I was seeing his character interactions, like him and Kenpachi. You know, that was a weird dynamic, but it was kind of cool to see that Kenpachi and him were just like chattering back and forth with each other. And yeah, he kind of baited Kenpachi into learning stuff about Pernida. At least he saved him. I don't know, what's a big surprise for you? Because something had to surprise you with your hatred of him.
My biggest surprise was the crazy time delay between the lab research of Xyloporos and the reveal. This might be the longest foreshadow thing in all of Bleach that's like in your face. It's not until the 1,000-Year Blood War where he rocks up with like a myriad of Arankars to fight for them. And the thing that's most surprising is some of these characters don't even make sense. Like, Loopy was literally legs. How is Loopy alive? And then at least Ordoni, Saruki, and I always forget the heart or Onkar's name. At least the other three, we didn't literally watch them die, knocked unconscious at the very least. But it was quite surprising to see these return of characters. We can at least say that Chad directed that one Arankar to death so hard that he was unrevivable by Mayuri's technology. So that's Chad's one and only power feat in the anime.
At least we got some Chad love in here. I think it was Charlotte.
Oh, that sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. You've had the Arankar arc more. How hinted at was Salapor's lab?
It was very hinted at because he studied Renji and Uryu, knew all their abilities, already had his countermeasures, fought them. Renji did the best shakuho of his life, ruined Xylopora's clothes. He said, "Fuck you guys, I'll be right back." And they're like, we're not waiting for this guy. So he went to change in his lab. He came back. They couldn't get out. He went on and on about science mumbo jumbo for a while. Mayuri eventually beats him. Mayuri's like, I found his lab.
And that was it.
Yeah, and that was it until 1,000-Year Blood War. We're just like, what the fuck did he find? Like, I'm pretty sure everyone, when I finally got to that part in 1,000-Year Blood War, I had to go back so far that I forgot it even happened. So I can't imagine reading the manga weekly. I would say probably less than 5% remembered what this was referencing.
Dude, when you told me about it, I was like, what? And I was like, oh, and I went back. I was like, dude, this was like hinted at. My favorite thing about Mayuri is definitely his cold, fearless, sadistic nature. I He definitely is a. You guys really have to have a taste for Mayuri to like him as a character, because like I don't even like him for real. I just like the things he does to like enemies, because they're really he has very unnatural ways of fighting, because he doesn't really like sword fight like like normal anime characters, and I think that's what's so cool about him. When he's on screen, it's like, what is he gonna do? And then you see what he pulls off. Like, granted, a lot of it's grotesque, like umbrella people, like,
Oh my
or he
god.
feels like he has like human
The umbrella
bombs.
people and the like slingshot person, that reminded me of JJK so much.
It
But no,
really did.
I forget what the white hair guy is in JJK with the curses, but it's like right up his alley.
Oh yeah, I mean JJK does. He actually took a lot of inspiration from Bleach. He like references a lot of Bleach is referenced in there. Like the domain expansions are like a hard crop from Bankai.
You mean from Tozen?
Huh?
A hard crop from Tozen, the first domain expansion.
Oh yeah, I mean technically that is a domain, but I mean like bankais are, like, no, I'm gonna say domain expansions are like bankais, because not every domain expansion is. I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know. There's callbacks. There's a lot of callbacks, especially like Bleach. Yeah. No, I don't really like Mayuri as a character. I like the things he does to enemies, and that is what I think is cool about Mayuri, and he's very unique. I don't know. Do you have a favorite thing about him?
My least favorite thing about Mayuri is how much he talks and how big his ego is when he has very little to flex about. And he actively seems like he will cause things to be harder or worse to prove his point, such that he was risking the fate of the world to be destroyed by telling Aizen, "Oh yeah, just try to shoot down the Soul Palace. We'll see what's better, your spiritual pressure or my technology." Hee hee. It's like, you don't fucking want to see if you're wrong, bro.
That's his
Oh,
confidence.
and that one time where Haru's like, "Hey, I found out how to get rid of to get our Bonkai back." He's like, "Nah, you didn't." And he's like, "You're not getting back." And Haru's like, "JK, I already know how to get back. I'm here."
He hates Urahara though, so, which I don't know why he hates him. I don't know if it's jealousy. I'm gonna say it's jealousy.
It's because he knows he's less smart and he can't take that.
Yeah, he definitely can. I mean, he's definitely more inventive, I think.
Yeah, he has a lot of inventions, but let's just put it this way: he's compensating. Okay, Urahara can actually fight.
He's
Mayuri
definitely
needs to create technology to help him fight. And
facts.
that's best exemplified with his spat against zombie Hitsugaya, where he had to create a weapon, a technology to help him block because he doesn't know
That's
how
why.
to.
Hey, hey, can we? I don't think I'm ever gonna do Hitsugaya in these, but if we ever do, I'm definitely picking Zombie Hitsugaya, because that is, dude is
Zombie
cold.
Hitsugaya is it's his peak power. I don't care what you say. That's what he's always been able to do with his extra training after the Aizen
Hmm.
spat, but he just didn't do it. With his Shikai, he should have been able to
Literally.
dumpster King Do, potentially Bazb, but he was holding
Uh,
back.
yeah, I have no, like, he is cold. Like, oh man, I remember when I first saw that, I was like, dude, why is Zombie Hitsugaya better than regular
It's a
Hitsugaya?
huge difference.
It's a big difference. Oh man. But that's all I got. Thank you for coming to Peak Personalities.